Well, we're back for the weekend Wellbeing on the weekend wind down show this Friday. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much to Karen Ferguson for joining us once again from the Maven Club.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Karen. Good to see you again. It's been fantastic to follow these 5 steps to mental health by the NHS study. I forget when it was. Is it something like 20 years ago? This comes out of a study.
Yeah, so the Mental Capital and Wellbeing report was released in 2008. So the initial studies would have been before that, the research, and then I'm not actually sure at what point it converted into the NHS 5 steps, but to me they feel like they've been around for a significant amount of time now, and they're things that I regularly point people to because it's just so easy to follow.
Yeah.
Great ideas, and it's proven, it's evidence based that these things actually help us.
Yeah, and again, as we looked at, again, they're not things that are well beyond ordinary people's means. They are things that we can do so easily, with perhaps often at no cost and without disrupting our everyday lives significantly, which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we move on today to our third point, which is the one that's called learning new skills. Now, again, you can look at that title and maybe get a sense of overwhelm, but I think what we need to think about within this context is just the vast array of learning new skills. So it needs to match how you're wired. So for some people, learning new skills is about studying and it's about achieving things. For others, it's just about having a go and trying things. So it's really important for this not to feel like a pressure, but for it to be something really interesting, something that interests you. And for some people, it's actually doing something that's very different to what they're used to doing in their normal life or in their working life, that gives a sense of escapism, maybe, or just trying something different. But it is about trying and learning something new. Um, on the website, the NHS website, it says research shows that learning new skills can improve your mental well-being by boosting self-confidence and raising self-esteem, helping you to build a sense of purpose and helping you to connect with others, like that first one. So it's another opportunity, another environment to connect with people. It does then say, even if you feel like you do not have enough time or you may not need to learn new things, there are lots of different ways to bring learning into your life. So they talk about things like maybe just trying something new to cook, or a new responsibility, or even a DIY project, or signing up for a different type of course at a local college, whatever it might be, just a new hobby. And I wanted to just tell you a little bit about how this has worked out for myself and for my husband. So my husband, Ken, who some of your listeners will be familiar with, he's a doctor. And so his work is quite pressurized and at times quite stressful. And a number of years ago, through some really challenging circumstances that he was facing, he decided to take up a new hobby and to learn how to sew. Now, that's quite different. I think there's a YouTube channel or something like that out there that's called The Bro That Sews. It's not Ken's, but it's kind of one of those things that's quite kind of cool that this guy decided to sew. But he decided to learn how to sew, and he has found that to be so helpful for his mental health and well-being. It's such a place of escapism, of focus, of creativity, of achieving something. And I have to say, I benefit a lot from this little hobby of his as well. He's got a wardrobe full of shirts that he's made, and they're even just going and choosing fabric and that type of thing. And we've actually made it part of our practice that if we ever travel, we try to find a material shop and actually buy some material so you can then come back and make a shirt or whatever it might be. And then you've got these beautiful memories associated with that. So he took up sewing, and I have to say his skills have just improved and gone from strength to strength to strength. And I really am benefiting from this. So it's all sorts of things that may not be the obvious thing that you can try, but that can be a really positive thing. And so for him also now, if he is feeling stressed or under pressure or even sad, being able to sew is a really, really good thing for him to do to support his mental health. Um, More recently for me, it's not so much learning a new skill, but it's been about rediscovering a skill. And so I've just recently, in the last year or so, rediscovered a love for cooking and baking. And I found that that is a really good way for my skills to develop in an area, again, that is just very different to what my day to day life looks like. And I've just loved exploring with different ingredients and combinations. And, you know, if you ever kind of catch me just looking like I'm away with the fairies, I'm probably putting together in my head an idea for a dinner or a cake or something and just kind of experimenting. And then I love having a go. I love it when we have time out and, you know, holidays and that, to then think about what am I going to cook. I just really enjoy it. And that's something that I used to enjoy, then I really didn't enjoy it. It became such a chore, but I've just rediscovered it. So it's a bit of a twist on learning something new, but it's a new discovery. And it's really important for us. It's so good for us to learn something new. And so the challenge for this weekend is, what does learning something new look like for you? Could you just perhaps put aside this weekend a little bit of time to wander in your mind, to think about it, or to research what that could look like for you? It doesn't have to be a huge, overwhelming project, but what might it look like for you to learn something new and to unleash some of these great feelings and motivations that come from learning something new? So the task and the challenge this weekend is not necessarily to start learning something new, but just to have the time and the space to think about what learning something new might look like for you.
Awesome. That is such a really interesting aspect of our lives, really. Learning new skills. It's such a powerful thing. It doesn't necessarily, like you say, it doesn't need to be a grand project. It doesn't need to be something especially complex even. I mean, cooking is something we need to do for our everyday lives. We need to cook to eat. But
Mhm.
again, you can take it to new levels and try even more, be more experimental, create more exotic meals, perhaps, things that you've never tried before. I mean, I myself, I'm not a huge fan of cooking, but I don't mind baking now and then. And I've
Right.
tried a few new projects recently, like millionaire shortbread I made for the first time a while ago. And
Perfect.
yeah, for the first time it was a bit rough, but it turned out pretty well. I think I
Uh-huh.
overcooked the caramel slightly, but the second time it turned out really, really nicely, and the family was very grateful when I made it again for Christmas.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, well, we'll need to see some photographic evidence of your baking skills at some stage, I think, Nathan.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Yes, and of course, there are so many different skills that you could learn. It could be anything. It could be something more intellectual, like a language, or maybe you want to write something, write books, or I don't know, something along those lines. It could be something more physical. Maybe I guess woodwork is quite a common one, or sewing in the case of Ken. And there's so much out there. We could probably look up a list of the most popular
Absolutely.
new skills to learn or hobbies, and then find something you like. There's bound to be something.
And
Yeah.
the key thing is have a go. And if it
Mm.
doesn't do it for you, it doesn't matter. Try something else, but have a go. Don't overthink it. Just have a go.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Don't overthink it, because if we overthink it, we're bound to end up thinking around in circles, and we'll never make any progress. You just need to
Yeah,
have a go, try your hand at it, and see what happens.
absolutely. And send us some of your baked goodies, I'd say.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen. It's been an absolute pleasure as always.
Thank you.